moving on to a new chapter, where in this chapter we will explore how cybersecurity can be utilized to tackle disinformation and misinformation. In this chapter, we will delve into these various tools and techniques, exploring their strengths and limitations, and discuss how they can be used in combination to effectively address the issue of disinformation and misinformation. The rise of disinformation and misinformation has become a pressing issue in the digital age. With the widespread use of social media and the ease of spreading false information, it has become increasingly difficult to distinguish between credible and false information. This not only undermines the credibility of institutions and sources, but also has the potential to cause significant harm to individuals and society as a whole. Cybersecurity involves the protection of information and information systems from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, and destruction. With this in mind, various cybersecurity tools and techniques can be used to tackle disinformation and misinformation, including social media monitoring tools, artificial intelligence, and machine learning algorithms, digital signature and authentication technologies, encryption technologies, threat intelligence platforms, and collaboration platforms. These tools help to detect and prevent the spread of false information, verify sources, secure information transmission, and enhance collective efforts to counter disinformation and misinformation. However, it is important to note that countering disinformation and misinformation requires a multidisciplinary and holistic approach involving a combination of technical, educational, and policy-based solutions. It is well known that misinformation and disinformation have been an issue for quite some time. Nonetheless, this issue is also regarded as a possible threat from a cybersecurity standpoint. More specifically, disinformation poses added threats that are implemented and administered through a number of ways that make the process of distinguishing between safe content and unsafe content more difficult. According to the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, disinformation actors utilize a number of tools and methods to manipulate victims and make them take action. Such tools include proxies, deepfakes, and forgeries, to name a few. CISA also suggests that misinformation is misleading information, malinformation is factual information taken out of context, and that disinformation is intentional false information. Let's talk about a number of inauthentic content examples. Manipulated audio and video. Frequently, audio or video content becomes popular and spreads rapidly due to its ability to captivate the audience and be shared multiple times. However, what happens when this content is a low-quality fake or a deep fake? Altered audio or video has the potential to be highly dangerous as it effectively spreads false information. Cheap fakes are actual audio and video recordings that have been altered by adjusting the speed or presenting them in a misleading context with the intention of deceiving. Deepfakes refer to fabricated yet highly realistic audio and video recordings that are created and distributed with the intention of misleading and deceiving others. Deepfakes have the capability to deceive you into believing that individuals have spoken or acted in ways that never actually occurred. Visual deepfakes can produce fake but plausible faces or full body videos, while audio deepfakes can involve a voice imitation that produces new speech from a single person or multiple people, either on its own or with a fabricated video. The level of manipulation in audio-video content can vary, with some fakes being easily noticeable upon closer inspection, while others may require specialized software to be identified. Forged artifacts generally consist of fabricated letterheads, copied signatures, invented social media posts, and maliciously altered emails. These forgeries are created and spread for various harmful intentions, and to increase their credibility, they are often presented as having been obtained through a hack, theft, or other form of a document interception, claiming to be leaked materials. Beware of proxy websites, as they are often used by malicious individuals or groups to spread disinformation and divisive content or increase website traffic. These websites do not aim to provide accurate information. They may appear after significant events to exploit the public's legitimate desire for information. It is important to be cautious of sites with questionable origins and to verify the credibility of both the information and its source. DAS stands for Disinformation as a Service and is a new type of threat that blurs out notable differences between those behind disinformation campaigns and those that execute them. Similar to cyber groups, DAS actors have a superior ability to fake authenticity and mimic nation-state cyber actors. The everything-as-a-service approach has allowed for the innovation of disinformation methods and techniques. Previously, malicious individuals had to create a disinformation campaign, devise a plan to reach their desired audience, acquire the necessary technological tools for a coordinated attack, and keep track of its success and response. However, now these components can be procured through outsourcing. Let's talk about a few components that are outlined as key aspects through which the issue of disinformation is tied with cybersecurity. Despite the heightened attention on disinformation on major social media platforms, the spread of false information is a widespread issue. Disinformation campaigns continue to utilize various internet infrastructure and services to reach their target audience. Social media platforms can act as entry points and amplifiers for disinformation websites. This highlights the intersection between disinformation and cybersecurity, affecting many members of both the private sector and technical internet community. The tools and methods used in disinformation and cybersecurity often overlap. Disinformation has become a common component of cyber attacks, utilizing tactics such as fearware that exploit people's fears and emotions to deliver malware. The rise of hack and leak operations and the coordination of hybrid tactics, as seen in the Sandworm case, exemplify the convergence. Additionally, there is a strong connection between disinformation campaigns and the tactics used in cybercrime, such as through illegal transactions on the dark web, the use of illegally obtained documents, and various forms of fraud. Disinformation campaigns and cyber attacks can cause similar harms and are sometimes combined to reach the same targets. While a data breach can compromise information security, so can the manipulation of data. We saw an example of this related to COVID-19 vaccines in early 2022 when hackers stole confidential documents from the European Medicines Agency, a European Union regulatory body, to instill mistrust in the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Meanwhile, so-called anti-democracy attacks and cyber-influencing attacks like media manipulation and astroturfing in the context of elections illustrate the hybrid nature of interference in democratic processes. Hacking, cybercrime, and influence operations are highly profitable activities that are often outsourced to skilled professionals. Despite increased awareness and preparedness from ransomware attacks, disinformation tactics such as defamation and extortion are now being used to cause harm to reputations and generate financial gain. These actions are driven by strong financial incentives and yet face insufficient consequences, partly due to difficulties in attributing the attacks, but also because of the lack of effective deterrents and restrictions. Among other things, disinformation can cause significant damage to businesses as well. Approximately $78 billion are lost annually due to disinformation. Moreover, 87% of business owners firmly believe that disinformation is one of the greatest threats to businesses and their reputation in today's world. Misinformation refers to false information that is spread unintentionally, often due to a lack of understanding or knowledge about a particular topic. Misinformative journalists, on the other hand, are journalists who knowingly spread false information or misinformation in their reporting. During the COVID-19 pandemic, disinformation reached new heights. Traditional cybercriminals capitalize in public health emergencies, and the hazards introduced as a result require going beyond traditional measures for combating and countering misinformation and disinformation. In order to reduce the spreading of disinformation, the cybersecurity element must be incorporated and include the 5 known pillars of cybersecurity that include identifying, protecting, detecting, responding, and recovering. How can cybersecurity effectively be incorporated into healthcare in an attempt to counter disinformation? This can be achieved by removing misdirection and miscommunication, by elevating responsibilities and providing unfiltered access for chief security officers working on health institutions. It is worth noting that disinformation regarding healthcare generally does not involve people who are part of or work in healthcare. However, in such cases, the medical community must respond to those within their group who deliberately spread malinformation. Misinformation and disinformation regarding healthcare are typically spread in media platforms without prior verification taking place. As disinformation spreading evolves to bypass countermeasures, the healthcare community must also follow up with the latest disinformation trends, such that it is prepared to effectively counter disinformation campaigns regarding healthcare topics. When it comes to healthcare systems, cybersecurity is a component of paramount importance. Protecting patient database is crucial. When healthcare systems suffer cybersecurity breaches, disinformation inherently becomes more present. The information gained during cyber attacks is used to create and spread false information and narratives. Multiple cases of healthcare cybersecurity attacks involve the impersonation of various legitimate organizations, such as World Health Organization. The following points are regarded as best practices that healthcare practitioners and officials must follow to not fall prey of disinformation. Be cautious about posting content online that can be easily altered. Publicly counter those in the medical field who deliberately counter disinformation regarding healthcare topics. Validate that the information presented to you is genuine by cross-checking with multiple sources. Have backup documents such that if the original ones are leaked, disinformation is countered by fact. Medical staffs must be informed and updated on the threats of disinformation and trained to stay vigilant for potential attacks. Security breaches must be immediately reported to official authorities. Hardware and software must be kept updated since outdated hardware and software allow room for potential cyber attacks. Closely check and examine URLs. Adequately address conspiracies. Authentication and verification are also essential in countering disinformation and misinformation. It is crucial to verify the authenticity of sources and information before it is shared or published. This can be achieved through the use of digital signatures, secure encryption, and other authentication technologies. By verifying the authenticity of information, it becomes possible to prevent the spread of false information and ensure that people receive accurate and trustworthy information. Education and awareness are also crucial in addressing disinformation and misinformation. The public needs to be made aware of the dangers of false information and taught critical thinking skills that will enable them to identify and counteract false information. This can be achieved through media campaigns, educational programs, and public awareness campaigns that educate people on how to identify false information and take appropriate action to counteract it. Technical solutions such as machine learning algorithms can also play a significant role in addressing disinformation and misinformation. Machine learning algorithms can be trained to automatically identify false information and flag it for review. This can greatly reduce the spread of false information as machine learning algorithms can process large amounts of data quickly and accurately, enabling them to identify false information faster and more accurately than human reviewers. Collaboration is also essential in addressing disinformation and misinformation. Governments, technology companies, media outlets, and civil society organizations need to work together to counter false information. This can involve sharing information, data, and best practices, and working together to develop and deploy technical solutions. Collaboration can enhance collective efforts to counter disinformation and misinformation, as each stakeholder brings their unique expertise and resources to the table. Finally, regulations and laws are also crucial in addressing disinformation and misinformation. Governments should establish regulations and laws to hold those responsible for spreading false information accountable. This can serve as a deterrent, reducing the spread of false information and helping to maintain trust in institutions and the media. In conclusion, countering disinformation and misinformation requires a multidisciplinary and holistic approach that involves a combination of technical, educational, and policy-based solutions. By working together, governments, technology companies, media outlets, and civil society organizations can address the spread of false information, maintain trust in institutions, and promote a well-informed and engaged citizenry. The rise of disinformation and misinformation has become a major concern in our digital age. To address this issue, cybersecurity can play a crucial role. This next topic outlines various cybersecurity tools and techniques that can be used to tackle disinformation and misinformation. From monitoring and detection to artificial intelligence algorithms and collaboration platforms, these tools help to identify false information, verify sources, secure information transmission, and enhance collective efforts to counter disinformation and misinformation. By utilizing these tools, we can work towards promoting a well-informed society and maintaining trust in institutions. Cybersecurity tools that can be used to tackle disinformation and misinformation include social media monitoring tools. These tools monitor social media platforms and online forums for false or misleading information and can flag or remove such content. Artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms. These tools can automatically identify and flag false information, reducing the spread of disinformation and misinformation. Digital signature and authentication technologies. These tools can verify the authenticity of sources and information, reducing the spread of false information. Encryption technologies. These tools can secure the transmission of information, ensuring that it is not tampered with or altered in transit. Threat intelligence platforms. These tools gather and analyze information about potential cyber threats, including the spread of false information, to help organizations stay informed and protect against disinformation and misinformation. Collaboration platforms. These tools facilitate communication and collaboration between technology companies, governments, media outlets, and civil society organizations, enhancing collective efforts to counter disinformation and misinformation. By utilizing these and other cybersecurity tools, it becomes possible to detect and prevent the spread of false information, maintain trust in institutions, and promote a well informed citizenry. Disinformation and misinformation have become serious threats to society as they can undermine trust in institutions and spread false information, leading to confusion and division. The spread of such false information can have far reaching consequences, such as the manipulation of public opinion and the exacerbation of social and political conflicts. Addressing disinformation and misinformation from a cybersecurity standpoint requires a comprehensive and coordinated approach that involves multiple stakeholders, including governments, technology companies, media outlets, and civil society organizations. There are a number of tools available for labeling misinformation and disinformation. The following tools are used for a variety of purposes regarding misinformation and disinformation and cover areas such as bot detection, whitelisting, content verification, credibility scoring, disinformation tracking, and more. Prior to utilizing these tools, there are a number of steps that must be taken to identify misleading information. These steps include checking the source, checking the author, checking additional sources, maintaining a critical mindset, fact-checking, reviewing comments, removing personal biases, and checking for the authenticity of images. BotSlayer is a browser extension that helps track and detect potential manipulation of information spreading on Twitter. BotSlayer uses a detection algorithm to identify hashtags, links, accounts, and media that are being amplified in a coordinated fashion by likely bots. Users can view, explore tweets and accounts associated with such amplification on Twitter or search for related content. Hamilton 2.0 is a web-based dashboard that provides real-time information on Russian propaganda and disinformation online. It does so by tracking hundreds of Russian-linked Twitter accounts that are related to influencing information in the United States and Europe. The tool provides analysis of the narratives and topics promoted by the Russian government and state-backed media on Twitter, YouTube, broadcast television, and state-sponsored news websites. The IFI Quotient is a web-based tool that uses NewsWhip to query Facebook and Twitter and identify URLs that are known to be biased or to be frequent reporters of false information. The tool then calculates the percentage of URLs on each site that are iffy or known for reporting false or misleading information. Twitter Trails is a web-based tool that uses an algorithm to analyze the spread of a story and how users react to the story. The tool measures the story's spread and user skepticism. The Who Targets Me tool allows users to create an anonymous profile, then collect information about the political and other ads that they see, along with information about why they were targeted with those ads. The tool can provide users with statistics on who, what has been targeting them and uses this information to build a database of political advertising and targeting. Hoaxy is a web-based tool that visualizes the spread of articles online. Hoaxy searches for claims and fact-checking going back to 2016. It tracks sharing links to stories from low-credibility sources and independent fact-checking organizations. It also calculates a bot score, which is a measure of the likely level of automation. Overall, the IU Observatory on social media is interested in studying and better understanding how information is shared online. They are also interested in studying how social media affects public discourse. The Global Disinformation Index is a web-based tool that rates news outlets based on the probability of disinformation on a specific media outlet. This rating system will cover all types of media and will be a real-time score. FakerFact is an artificial intelligence tool that assesses the purpose and characteristics of information. Ratings include agenda-driven journalism, wiki, opinion, and satire. The tool does not rate an article as true or false, but rather assesses its purpose and objectivity. No News is a browser extension developed through the Media Monitoring Africa initiative that classifies news sites based on their credibility. Sites are rated as credible, dodgy, or not rated. MBFC is a web-based platform that produces media bias ratings based on a website's level and direction of bias and also identifies questionable and conspiracy sources. Bitpress's misinformation detector is a web-based decentralized trust protocol blockchain tool designed to track news credibility in a transparent manner. The tool measures trust by analyzing the content and what is linked to, establishing a network of how the content is spread across media organizations. All media sources are given trust rankings, thus, the association between content and specific sources can affect the trust rankings of other sources. The tool includes fact-checking services using a combination of human fact-checker and blockchain technology. Journalists and publishers can sign up to be partners. NewsCheck is a web-based platform that performs credibility scoring using a combination of machine technology and humans to fight fake news. They have a system for managing and delivering content that is deemed trustworthy to consumers. Part of the NewsCheck platform is the NewsCheck Trust Index, a set of journalistic standards that are then used to transparently verify news information. This tool also identifies bias. NewsCheck also offers a university pilot that allows journalism and data science students to use the platform for free as experimental learning. Newstrition is a browser extension that provides information about news sources and rates the accuracy of the news story itself. Open Sources is a web-based database of information sources that have been analyzed in terms of their reputations for producing credible news. The database classifies websites as fake news, satire, extreme bias, conspiracy theory, rumor mill, state news, junk science, hate news, clickbait, proceed with caution, political, and credible. Trusted Times is a browser extension that classifies fake news and unreliable content. It uses machine learning to provide additional information about articles, including bias and details about who is covered positively and negatively. It can classify articles as fake, unreliable, verified, or mainstream media, provide summaries of verified content, identify important topics, identify potential bias, identify historical bias of reporters, and identify historical bias of a specific website. It uses icons to present the reliability of websites. The Factual is a mobile app and browser extension that scores news content based on the extent and quality of its sources, the expertise of the journalist, the opinionated nature of the language used, and the historical reputation of the site. It ranks the content on a 0 to 100 scale to measure the quality of the content. It is mainly automated. The tool rates news quality based on diversity of sources, author expertise, the language used, etc. It also identifies higher quality sources and sources from the other side of the political spectrum. Now we're going to name a few tools that are used for content verification. Captain Fact is a web-based collection of tools designed for collaborative verification of internet content. It includes a browser extension that provides a video overlay to internet videos with sources, contextual information, and icons showing credibility based on user votes. It also has a debate platform that allows for discussions of specific points. While currently focused on video, they are developing a tool to provide a similar overlay to articles. ClaimBuster is a web-based automated live fact-checking tool developed by the University of Texas at Arlington. The tool relies on natural language processing and supervised learning to identify factual and false information. There is also an app available for Slack. Crosscheck is a collaborative initiative through the first draft news that is focused on verification. It began prior to the French election with newsrooms and tech companies working together to report on and identify misleading news leading up to the election. EXIF tool is a computer application that provides metadata information about the source, timestamp, creation, and modification information. MBFC Fact Checking is a website that provides a series of fact checks on top political and other issues. MediaBugs is a service for reporting and correcting specific errors and problems in media coverage. Once a problem is reported, the tool administrators try to engage the journalist or organization and work towards correction. The tool provides a neutral, civil, moderated discussion space which can serve as a forum for debate and discussion. Securo is a web-based verification tool that provides information about the source, timestamp, creation, and modification information. Arbuter is a collaborative online platform developing a database of web pages, each of which is a rebuttal of another web page to combat disinformation and reduce fake news. It does not distinguish between true and false, it just identifies rebuttals to provide users with a more diverse set of perspectives. Thrive is a web-based platform and browser extension that provides fact-checking through crowdsourcing using blockchain indexing. It uses a Nash equilibrium incentive structure for fact-checking. Invid is a plugin toolkit designed to assist in fact-checking through video verification. Now let's talk a bit about tools that are used for bot detection. Bot Sentinel is a free platform developed to detect and track troll bots and untrustworthy Twitter accounts. Bot Sentinel uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to study Twitter accounts, to classify them as trustworthy or untrustworthy, and to identify bots. It then stores those accounts in a database to track each account daily. Developers use the data they collect to explore the effect of bots and their propaganda on discourse and to explore ways to counter the spread of bots and the information they disseminate. Classifying untrustworthy accounts is a manual process. They review hundreds of tweets and retweets during the review process. If an account has a large number of followers and a high percentage of misleading and/or factually incorrect tweets, they might classify that account as untrustworthy. Botometer is a web-based program that uses machine learning to classify Twitter accounts as bot or human by looking at features of a profile including friends, social network structure, temporal activity, language, and sentiment. Botometer outputs an overall bot score along with several other scores that provides a measure of the likelihood that the account is a bot. Domain whitelist is a browser extension that blocks ads and allows users to identify sites to be whitelisted and prevents any request to sites not included on that list. Website whitelist is a browser extension that allows users to identify sites to be whitelisted and prevents any request to sites not included on that list. The extension also blocks external tracking and advertising websites. Whitelist Manager is a browser extension that allows users to identify sites to be whitelisted and prevents any request to sites not included on that list. Metadata refers to data that provides additional information about other data, making it easier to comprehend and put into context. It includes information such as the creation, author, software used to create it, and other pertinent details, and is typically added to various types of digital files such as images, audio files, videos, and documents. This metadata can be stored within the file or in a separate file that is linked to it. In the context of digital media, metadata is used to organize and categorize content, and it also enables more efficient search and retrieval of data. In addition, metadata can help to preserve the content over time by providing information about the format, quality, and other technical details of the original data file. Metadata can be used to counter disinformation in several ways: verifying the source of information, tracing the dissemination of disinformation, understanding the content of information, identifying manipulated content. By leveraging metadata, organizations and individuals can take a data-driven approach to counter disinformation and make more informed decisions about the credibility and accuracy of the information they encounter online. Google dorking, also known as Google hacking, is a technique used to search for sensitive or vulnerable information that is publicly available on the internet. It involves using Google search operators and queries to find information that is not intended to be publicly accessible, such as login credentials, sensitive documents, and other types of confidential information. Google dorking exploits the fact that many websites and online systems store sensitive information in a way that is publicly accessible. By using specific Google search operators and queries, it is possible to find this information and access it without proper authorization. While Google dorking can be used for legitimate purposes, such as conducting security research or testing the security of your own system, it is also a tool that can be used by malicious actors to steal sensitive information and cause harm. As a result, it is important to be aware of the security risks associated with publicly accessible information and to take steps to protect sensitive information from being disclosed. It is also worth noting that Google actively works to prevent malicious use of its search engine and regularly updates its algorithms to make it more difficult to find sensitive information through Google dorking. Google dorking can be used to counter disinformation by allowing individuals and organizations to search for and find information that may be relevant to verifying the accuracy of a particular piece of information. For example, a Google Dork search can be used to find news articles, official statements, or other sources of information that support or contradict a particular claim. This can be helpful in determining the credibility of a particular piece of information and in identifying instances of disinformation. However, it is important to note that Google Dorking should not be relied upon as the sole method for verifying the accuracy of information. The information found through Google Dorking should be carefully evaluated and verified from multiple sources before being used to counter disinformation. In addition, it is also important to be aware of the limitations of Google Dorking, as it can be influenced by the algorithms used by Google and other search engines, as well as by the prominence of particular websites and sources of information. This can result in the promotion of false or misleading information, which can further spread disinformation. Therefore, while Google Dorking can be a useful tool in the fight against disinformation, it should be used as a part of a broader and more comprehensive strategy, which also includes evaluating the credibility of sources, fact-checking information, and engaging in critical thinking.